others, costing about $1.7 billion in damages. At age 18, he saw the light and became a white hat hacker, and currently is the CEO of a tech firm called Optimal Secure, and a frequent speaker at speaking events all over the world. So Michael, maybe you can just share a little bit about your story and background since 15 on the way up.
Sure. A lot of you might be familiar with the major denial of service attack that took place in February of 2000. I since have become reformed, and I've been working as a white hat for over 15 years now. And I worked with some major companies like Checkpoint Software, Hitachi, and kind of worked my way up the ranks and kind of bring a unique perspective to this board, and working with HP in conjunction with them, kind of just providing my insight, because I obviously led a double life, if you will. I was on the dark side and now I work on the light side, and just providing a unique approach and mindset and understanding the frame of what a hacker is today and how that mindset has shifted, because we obviously see the motivations over the years have changed. And I look to provide key insight into what the landscape looks like today, and how I hope to help, obviously, HP combat some of those threats that exist today.
Next up is Justine Bone. She is currently CEO of MedSec, which is a vulnerability research and security solutions company focused on medical devices in the healthcare industry. She's been the global CISO of Dow Jones, the global head of information and physical security at Bloomberg. She's often requested as conference presenters as well, like as Michael has. She's part of the Black Hat USA Guest Review Board. She began her career as a vulnerability researcher with New Zealand's Government Communications Security Bureau. And we joke internally she learned about resilience by her early days as a dancer with the Royal New Zealand Ballet Company. Justine, I'd love for you to share some of your thoughts around your previous roles and what you've learned and experienced to sort of showcase what you're bringing to the board.
Sure, yeah. So also come from a sort of a hacker mindset background. However, I channeled that into government service and then into the private sector upon my move out to the United States in the very early 2000s. I was lucky enough to be given some pretty awesome opportunities early in my career and bring that perspective to corporate America. So we built in a sort of an offensively minded security team at Bloomberg. Before that was really normal. These days in large enterprise, you see red teams, you see penetration testing, you see security research to a certain extent. Back in those days, that, you know, security researchers were still kind of seen as scary and the bad guys, but that's changed now. So I'm very proud of being part of that shift. Then at Dow Jones, again applied a similar mentality in a very different environment, media and entertainment. Dow Jones, of course, owner of the Wall Street Journal, Market Watch, Barron's, and other publications. So a whole different challenge there. But I think that primarily what I've been able to do is, especially in my role as CISO, appreciate the reality of the security landscape that we live in, the fact that nothing is secure, everything has something wrong with it. And as a buyer of solutions in that role, recognize the options or the lack thereof when it comes to evaluating, you know, the security solutions available to you. So when Michael asked me to come on board with the HP Security Advisory Board, I was really excited because we're not actually putting out fires here. We're actually able to look to the future. HP's been working and investing in security for a really long time. I happen to have known many of the folk, for example, from HP Labs. We've crossed paths in our careers a few times over the years. So I can appreciate what's been going on internally at HP. But now that HP is interested in opening the kimono to a certain extent and showcasing all of these layers of security that have been built into their PCs and built into their printers, and allowing CISOs like I used to be to make really informed decisions and encouraging that is really refreshing to me. So I'm super thrilled to be involved.
And the third external member of the Security Advisory Board is Robert Massey. Robert is a cybersecurity partner for a global consulting firm that leads the resilience practice for Canada. He has over 20 years of experience and is known for somebody who can talk at the security executive level as well as the technical level. So Robert, I'd love to hear some thoughts around what you've seen in the front lines that you're sharing with the internal security advisory.
Sure. So similar to my colleagues on to the right, I have more of an offensive background as a young person. As Justine mentioned, when you were the hacker, the young hacker working in the enterprise, you were usually locked in the basement somewhere, and people really wouldn't but now it's a cool thing. I missed it by 20 years. So I'm a partner at a large consulting firm, and I run the resilience and incident response and offensive red team cyber practice for Canada. We do a lot of global initiatives as well. And I think what's interesting to HP is that as I'm on the front lines of the big breaches that mostly you don't hear about, I have the latest kind of intelligence, tools, tactics, and procedures that the bad guys are using. And to be honest with you, we do take that data and then we use it when clients engage us to test their security. So we see how people are reacting, how they're defending themselves, and we also see what happens when breaches occur. So taking the latest on the front lines, I think, is of value to HP. Also, my background being a bit different, I don't really fit into the mold of one of the larger firms. So I was able to kind of get through all the technical stuff to get into the management side. So I spend, I'd probably say, 20% of my time speaking to boards and educating and being an evangelist into what's going on in the cybersecurity world. And I can tell you that 3 years ago, if I got 2 board presentations in a year, I was lucky. Now, cyber is being treated as like any other risk, usually at the audit risk committee level for most boards. So because we have that visibility momentum, I think it's a great time to keep pushing. And I'd say lastly, as Justine mentioned, when I was originally approached by Michael to join the advisory board, my first thoughts is kind of like a vendor. What do they have to say that'll be really good? And I was absolutely blown away with what HP was doing. So I was very interested in joining and happy to, once again, also, as Justine mentioned, look at building something in the future and help HP take it to the next level, which they're already pretty much doing a very good job on their own. So very honored to be on this advisory board.
And finally, meet Vali Ali. He's one of several HP executives, technology executives that are part of the board. He's representing those today. Vali is the Chief Technologist for Security and Privacy for HP's Personal Systems Group. His current areas of responsibility span platform security, privacy, BIOS, architecture, enterprise manageability, and smart office. If you know HP's SureStart, he was the brains behind that technology offering. He holds 48 worldwide granted patents with 50 more in the pipeline. So we're thrilled to have his time to be part of the board. I'd love for you to share your thoughts on HP's perspective and point of view.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming. I want to just share a couple of things. My journey into security started, I was a operating system networking guy. My journey into security started close to around 1999 and 2000. And the joke I repeat is that I used to have hair then. And now I'm a security geek with just about paranoia chasing me everywhere, and I'm chasing paranoia everywhere. But it has been an amazing journey inside HP, the transformation of understanding how just building products to now learning and wanting and creating desires for us to go create secure products, not only just security products, but products that are inherently secure. And not only just working on ourselves internally from general managers who used to, 15 years ago, any general manager which has a $1 billion line of product line, you go tell them that you want to do secure products, it'll say, well, that's going to slow me down for 2 months. Now, every general manager in HP is demanding product lifecycle, integrate security, secure software development lifecycle integrated into the product line. So it's a very exciting transformation inside HP. I'm just very happy to be part of that team. My counterparts in HP Labs and Print are actually working very closely with us. And we've been doing this for quite some time. As I said, HP Labs has a very rich history in product for creations of security standards and security products. We've been in trusted computing and creation of NIST specs and co-development of specs, not only for just development of security for our own product, but for the world to go adopt and make sure that everything in the world is secure. And while we've been doing this with our own expertise, our own intellectual property, and our own people, and as we have started to do more penetration testing and lots of other things about secure development lifecycle and formalized ways to go create secure product, we realized that we need more scale. We need more thinking. We need additional thinking in terms of the stuff that we are seeing and the stuff that we're not seeing. Different perspective of just not only just the vendor ourselves, but to go see about what is on the front outside that we need to look at and protect ourselves and our partners and our customers. This is why we've actually had the privilege of actually having some of the best minds in the industry like these to come and join us and advise us of how our executives can learn from them to go see how we need to evolve additionally about our thinking, our mindset, about our technologies and our offerings, about how we can not only create further secure products, but how we can actually create technologies that move the world forward. I think you guys saw some of the work, some of the presentation that Shane Wall actually did, and this is where some of the trends are. Some of their thinking is actually coming in, and we hope to go learn from them to go create better solutions to go protect the mega cities of the future. That's why we're excited to have these guys on board.
Cool. That's part of the show. Now some questions from you guys. Who'd like to go first? Yes, sir.
I'd be curious to know from any of the security guys, like, to what degree are security people influencing product selection these days about whether or not something is more secure or not? Because it always feels like, to be polite about it, you guys are the guys chasing after the parade and cleaning things up versus directing where the parade's going.
Yeah, I've got some observations there because I've been at both ends of the spectrum on that. Back in my early days as a CISO, I had very little influence over, the buying patterns of different departments. Dow Jones, Wall Street Journal journalists doing really whatever they wanted. Very, very challenging and a big target at the same time. What I'm seeing in healthcare is, the healthcare industry has been struggling massively, as you know, with things like ransomware attacks. And I'm now seeing a shift where, due to the teaming of departments such as security and procurement, we're getting contractual requirements in place such that security is a part of the criteria and the evaluation criteria when new solutions are acquired. Frankly, HP is going to come through exercises like that very favorably because of the security that's been built in. So that's one shift that I'm definitely seeing. And that's also interesting because it's a bit of a transfer of responsibility. Again, early in my career, as a CISO, if we were evaluating 3 different technologies, we would bear the brunt of the cost of that ourselves. We would go out and find and hire the experts to have a look at these 3 CRMs or these 3, database solutions or these 3 whatever. These days, what I'm seeing, especially in healthcare, is that responsibility getting pushed back out through procurement to the vendor themselves to come up with the evidence that that exercise has already been conducted. So that's a bit of a shift, I think, in the way that problem is being tackled.
I don't think the problem is resolved, but I think there's a huge movement as to what Justine is saying. I can guarantee you that while that problem is still, and frankly, we encourage people, we are asking all of our customers, I say this over and over again, you don't have to buy from us, but make sure that to protect your businesses, protect your own customers, protect your own people, ask these questions. So we help our customers through education and the other ways to go, please ask these questions. We're leading that effort even if they're not buying from us because we're pretty confident of what our product and what our technology does, but for just education of the customers. And I think we're trying to go to that. To your point, I think that there's still a gap. We wish it would, the gap would narrow or eliminate, and we're doing our best and our part to go eliminate that. But that does exist. But I would also tell you that I'm very encouraged to what she's saying, and I've heard from others. There is definitely a movement, and it's a strong movement, and we hope to continue and accelerate that movement even further.
I think there's kind of 2 aspects. One is regulatory requirements that we're seeing where the vendors have to have certain levels of standards. So I think that's a positive thing. And then from an enterprise risk management perspective, we're seeing clients that will now bake into the RFIs, security questions that'll have a certain weighting. Now, ultimately, you'd think that you'd hope as a security person that the weighting would be on par with the business requirements, but business has to roll. So we are seeing, obviously, you can have, terrible security results, but everything else is favorable to that vendor. We still see those business decisions being made that, we need to go with that vendor because, in fact, they are better for the business, and we'll figure out the security aspect later. So I think that's kind of the next level of where most organizations are going.
But to your point earlier as well, now that folks like